Hello guys, in this lecture we will learn about artifacts in GitLab. To learn artifacts, we will directly start with an example. Not only artifacts, going through this lecture we will hopefully learn some new things about pipelines. So I'll switch to a new project. I have already created a fresh GitLab project, artifacts demo. How to create a new project, you already know. Let's clone this project to our local system. Go to my folder. Now run. It's done. Now go to this project. Now check out to dev branch. So I am in dev branch of artifacts demo project. ls. We got nothing on a readme file. For better visualization of code, let's take this project to Visual Studio Code. This time we will create a very basic Node.js application. I believe many of you would already be familiar with Node.js, but for others who don't know, Node.js is an open source cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment that executes JavaScript code outside a web browser. It is used for developing server-side and networking applications that require a persistent connection from the browser to the server. Node.js is often used for real-time applications such as chat, news feeds, and web push notifications. Furthermore, in context to Node.js, there is a term npm. Actually, since I'm going to use this npm thing later in the course, so I thought to club its explanation here. npm is acronym for Node Package Manager. npm is the default package manager for the JavaScript runtime environment Node.js that lets you install third-party libraries, plugins, frameworks, and applications by using the command line. For example, to install Express framework, you will run the command npm install express in command line. So these were very basic information of Node.js and npm. In case if you want to explore more, you can visit to their official website through the link given in resources tab of this lecture. Anyway, moving back to the example, let's create a new file, index.js. And guys, since we are not into Node.js development course, so I won't deviate the course flow by creating the Node.js application from scratch. Rather, I will simply paste the code for this application and then explain it. The application is nothing. It simply uses the Express or Express.js framework, which is a standard web application server framework for Node.js applications to send back some response to request. Now giving you the overview of this code. As I said, this application will be using Express framework. So at the very first line of code, we are declaring a variable Express to contain the module Express in it. After requiring, as this Express module is actually a function, so in the next line of code, we are assigning the function call to another variable app, which will call it and will give us the access to that function just like an object does. Then in the next line of code, I am declaring a variable port that defines the port number on which the application will run. It's port 8080. In this next block of code, we are routing the application's endpoint. So basically, while listening for a GET request, our application will send this line of message as response. And at last, with this listen method, it starts the server and listens on port defined above with this starting message. Alright, so with this, our very basics of basic Node.js application using Express framework is ready. Now guys, looking at the code, it is obvious that our application requires some dependencies to run, like an Express framework as a prerequisite. So to handle and list down those project dependencies, the next thing we need to do is to create and define a package.json file. Actually, in any Node project, all npm packages contain a file, usually in project root, called package.json, a JSON file. This file holds all the metadata information about the project and is used for managing the project's dependencies, scripts, version, and more. So let's create that file. Package.json. I'll paste those dependencies. Okay, so here we have listed the project dependencies, which is Express with version 4.16.1 or greater. And yeah, in case if you have multiple dependencies, then you can list all of them here. Save both the files. Now the codes of our Node.js applications are ready. We have the application index file and the dependencies package.json file. Now let's quickly run this application manually in my local system to see the results. Clear it. I'm already in my project. To run the application locally, first you need to install Node on the system. Guys, if you're planning to start writing the GitLab CI/CD pipeline straight off, yes, you can skip this local part. But I am running this application in my local system purposely in order to demonstrate the transition from local to GitLab. Moreover, running this app locally would give us the hint of commands that we will need to specify in our pipeline. That is the GitLab ci.yml file to build and deploy this app on server. As and when the error comes while running the application here, the solution to it, like it may be additional installation commands, download external libraries, all of this, later we will add all those commands into the GitLab ci.yml file. Now before I install Node.js on my system, for safer side, let's run apt update command. Now I will install Node.js. Great. Node.js being installed, let's try to run the index file. Oops, one error. This was expected. Remember, we had used Express framework in index.js code, and since there is no module named Express as of now in this project, so it has thrown us the error. And how to get the Express framework? Well, run the package.json file in which all the dependencies are already defined. npm install. You don't have to mention package.json file name in the command, as npm install automatically picks it up by default. Great. One more error. Command npm is not found. Before we can actually use npm tool, we need to install it first. For that we have a command sudo apt install npm. Node package manager installed. Let's try again. These are warnings only, but it's done. Let me make some space. If I do ls, running package.json file has installed the requisite modules into this node modules directory. Okay, so I guess we are done with the prerequisites. If I try to run our application now, excellent. Our application is listening at localhost 8080. Let's open this link, control click. Here we go. It has returned us the response message, success. So we have managed to run Node.js project on our local server. Now what we are left with is taking this project to GitLab repository and creating a pipeline by listing all the necessary steps and commands that we learned from here into the GitLab ci.yml file. Let's do it in the next class.